the season never ends is the engine behind your favorite sports bar fantasy site. If your bar doesn't have it, send them our way so you can benefit from seamless draft day setups. No back and forth with staff. Just scan a QR code, pick your league spot, and customize your food and drink offers. TSNE offers quality of life tools like a mock drafter that improves each year by learning your league, automated team management if a player quits mid-season, and game time injury replacements before kickoff. With more league types and role options than any other platform, TSNE is everything you wish your fantasy platform had.
Hey everyone, this is Scal from the Greatest Team on Paper podcast. Are you looking for an in-depth fantasy football advice? Perhaps some weekly NFL betting picks? Or simply a fun conversation about everyone's favorite sport in the world, football? Look no further than the Greatest Team on Paper. We are three lifelong friends who have been living and breathing football for more than 20 years. We break down everything from tough start-sit decisions on a weekly basis, in-depth analysis of player performances, game recaps, and everyone's favorite segment, our famous G-Top Locks of the Week. Whether you want to ride with us on our picks or just want a fan's perspective of the games, the G-Top fellows have you covered. You can listen to us at The Greatest Team on Paper on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon platforms. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well at The Greatest Team on Paper. Help us help you. We'll see you there.
Yo, you. The one still debating whether to start Patrick Mahomes this week or bench him for that rando backup QB no one's heard of. What are you doing? Stop scrolling and listen up. You know what you need in your life? More Black and Tan Sports. That's right, your one-stop podcast for fantasy football chaos, NFL hot takes, and the occasional life lesson you didn't know you needed. We're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, basically anywhere you can get your podcasts. So hit that subscribe button like you're smashing a waiver wire pickup for CMC. And don't forget to drop us a 5-star review. Why? Because it's not just our egos, it helps the algorithm show us some love. And let's be honest, you could use more good karma for that trade offer you just sent out. You're also going to want to join the party on social media because we're dropping fire takes all week long. On X, formerly known as Twitter, we're not here to discuss Elon. We're at Black and Tan Pod. Facebook, Black and Tan Sports Pod. You know, for all you I still love my mom's memes people out there. Instagram, we got you at Black and Tan Sports Pod. Where else can you get weekly fantasy tips and questionable Photoshop edits of my co-host Dwayne's face? Oh, and YouTube, Black and Tan Sports. Subscribe there too, unless you're scared to see what fantasy football legends actually look like. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe, follow, engage. Otherwise, your fantasy team might just get cursed with a season-ending injury. Just saying. Black and Tan Sports, for the laughs, the takes, and the wins. Subscribe now, or you'll regret it later.
Black and Tan Sports, we keep it real. Nick and Dwayne breaking down the deal. Big points, bigger stories, you already know. Fantasy football with that life flow. Brought to you by the season never ends, where the game never stops, and neither do we, my friends. From touchdowns to hot takes, we cover it all. Laughs, life in football, we stand tall. Tune in, lock in, it's time to roll. Black and Tan's taking over, but we're on the roll. We're on the roll.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at us jumping on a Sunday evening.
We had to jump in on a Sunday evening because you know what, Dwayne? I'm a little aggravated. I'm a little aggravated with this week, man.
Absolutely. I didn't curse. I hold that.
No, you blanked yourself out, which is a little bit weird. I feel like this is the show where like we can't curse this, so fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm really frustrated, man. What the fuck?
I don't understand really what's going on with this team because I was the same things that I was critical of in the first week, right?
But they shut
and then
down
the first 6 games that within the last 10 games wasn't the issue anymore.
Right.
All of a sudden, these issues are reemerging and coming back again, and they're coming back again. What do you think, man?
Big. They showed up hard, man. Like today, I mean, look, we accomplished the one thing we couldn't do all season long, was score in the first quarter, which was awesome. 21-7 in the first quarter. turnovers hurt us. That interception, deep in our own territory, gave them the 7 points, which shouldn't have been there. But listen, it's a fact, man. Like Hurts being in the game is a game changer. Like that. Listen, I don't. We just fell apart as soon as Hurts left the game. We fell apart. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it happened. It was just so frustrating. I mean, Pickens did his thing. He did what he could do. Coming off the bench is cold. He hasn't played and started in a long time. So him getting out there and he's going to have mistakes and have a couple mishaps, and that's great. And that is what it is. But the rest of the team, like, we can't. Can we not tackle? Do we forget how to tackle?
Remember, we were talking about for the longest time. We were talking about how DeJean and all these other players, how well and how much how good their form tackles were. And to be honest with you, in that first quarter, I was a little bit fooled because I saw Darius Slay on the first drive break up a 4th down pass that was very crucial for that situation. Yep. After that, then I see Darius Slay make another play where he had almost a perfect form tackle, and how I don't like Darius Slay.
Yeah. He hasn't been big play Slay all season long.
No, he hasn't. And you can't come back and have his past 3 games are like okay, right?
Right.
The only reason why we're seeing him get any time and seeing him make plays is because Quinyon Mitchell is shut down that right side. I guess it's right side. Right side is as much as possible to the point where they have to throw to Slay's side. And since they're throwing to Slay's side, he's going to be forced to make these plays. Are they big plays? No, they're not big plays. But the last 3 games, I will say he's definitely stepped it up a little bit. As criticized.
We're seeing glimpses of what he used to be. Right. We're seeing glimpses of what he used to be and why he gained that nickname, Big Play Slay. But he's still not that big play guy again. And it's very frustrating. Today's game, again, I know that we go against a rival team. NFL, NFC East, rival gameplay is a little bit different because you can't go on the record because we're playing each other so much and so closely. It's going to be a different game, but I just don't know why everything just fell apart.
It did. It absolutely fell apart.
Like
it absolutely fell apart.
Insane.
It was reminiscent of last season when it started going on a 6-game losing streak. Now, I want to say this. I've been very, very, very critical of Jalen Hurts this whole season. Okay. And this is one of those situations where I just need to kind of nut up a little bit and admit where I feel like I'm a little bit wrong, because in the very beginning I was like, yo, just put Kenny Pickett in and let him cook, right? Because I was so against how Jalen Hurts was playing and the way he was making his reads and that, or lack of reads, right? You understand today from this game just how important Jalen Hurts is to this offense. He is, and we've both agreed that we like how he interacts with his teammates. We like how when he's down at the 1, how he's like sticking his tongue out before he does a tush push, things like that. I do like that about him, and I do enjoy that.
But it's also him being on the field. It changes the game, right?
No, 100%. So,
look how many times we should have gone for the 4th down, and we couldn't go because we had Pickett in the game, or a 3rd down and short, and we didn't do the tush push because it's not just about the linemen getting that momentum; it's about the people behind them, which would be the quarterback. Pickett's not that big of a dude. He's not that strong of a guy. He's not going to get that 1 yard. You know what I mean? And that changes the way our offense plays. It changes the way the defense looks at our offense. So think about this. When Jalen Hurts is on the field, you have to spy him. You have to have one designated guy, with a linebacker or safety, however with which you're playing. You have to have somebody spy Jalen Hurts. You put somebody else in there like Pickett, he's not a run threat, not even a deep ball threat. So now you have a free guy. Basically, you're playing 11 on 10, where you're taking out the quarterback because he's not going to run. You don't know, he's not a threat like that. So now you have another guy to spy on somebody else. That's why they're able to stop our run. Listen, you saw with the stats. Well, like Barkley had 109 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. And as soon as Hurts went out, every play after that, he was hitting the backfield.
But we have to talk about this too, because as much as I wanted to give Jalen Hurts his flowers to kind of talk about how much he pulls everything together, I also want to bring up the fact that he still can't fucking slide.
Yeah.
He still can't slide.
Yeah. I mean, it was a shitty slide and a bad hit. He wasn't hit to the head. if you watch the replay, he was hitting the shoulder, but then his
Right.
shoulder
And I was
caused
like,
his head to hit the ground.
and I even tweeted it out on the Black and Tan Sports Pod Twitter or X. Then come, please follow us, Black and Tan Sport at Black and Tan Sports Pod. But
yeah,
part of that too is like you have to listen, dude. If you're this important, then you have to start being more responsible with yourself. You got to be more responsible because what's going to happen is.
And listen, he did.
I thought the announcers were kind of gaslighting us in the beginning, talking about how it was a clean hit, and I'm freaking out like, no, this is not a clean hit. This is not the way it should be. But then going back and look at it again, you're 100% right, Dwayne. It was a clean hit. It was him not taking care of his body and putting himself into dangerous situations he didn't need to.
He didn't slide quick enough, right? He didn't slide early.
Well, he dove. He didn't slide.
It was a bit of a slide. That's why they called the penalty, because he was slide. If he went head first, there would have been no flag thrown. So he had to be in a slide to get that penalty.
I didn't see that there was a penalty thrown. I didn't think there was.
Yeah. When he slid, they threw the flag, and they were calling it.
They picked it back up.
Yeah, because after the review, they said that he didn't hit him in his head. He hit shoulder. The defensive player hit his shoulder, and his shoulder caused him to hit the head on the ground. But if his shoulder or his arm would have hit Hurts in the head, that would have been a penalty because Hurts was in a slide. He didn't slide soon enough is the problem.
I think, listen, if we could have a debate or an argument about whether or not that was a good slide, it was a shitty slide.
I agree.
So
I absolutely agree. I'm not going to sit there and say it was a great slide. Listen, but he did slide. He didn't go head first. So that's a step forward. Again, he's not the best person to slide, you know what I mean, that we've ever seen. Like this, he's not a Mahomes. It's hard to bring it up. But Mahomes plays basketball. He played baseball.
Right.
He knows how to slide. He can slide, get down, boom, he gets down. Right. So he has that natural instinct to do that slide. Hurts doesn't have that. You know what I mean? So again, even though he's trying it, it's not the best slide you've ever seen.
Right.
And it probably would have, if he would have slid a half second or a second earlier and save up a couple of, who you blowing kisses at? And say, and spare a couple of downs on a couple of yards or whatever, it would have saved him from getting a concussion. No, you bugging, bro. I'm sitting here watching you.
Sorry, we're at the same time of doing this, we're trying to stream TikTok as well, and we're having trouble doing it. So it's just live on one side, and for some reason, I just felt like blowing a kiss and do it. So
that's funny.
I got these luscious lips.
I'm watching.
One of the person that doesn't even have a profile picture. I'm blowing kisses. So
that's funny.
No, but listen, Dwayne, you really hit it. I mean, how long is he going to be out for? Because if he is this, which he is, I agree. He's a very good. He's a complex part of this. This gear, this cog, this machine we call offense, and you can see what happens when you have someone who's like a one-dimensional quarterback like Kenny Pickett. Like, why did I say in the beginning of the season to let him cook? I'm an idiot.
I don't know. I mean, listen, maybe you don't know much about football.
I don't. You're right.
But yeah, I think that listen, they took away a weapon. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you got Hurts, you've got AJ, right? I'm not AJ. Right. AJ Brown, and then you've got Saquon Barkley. You got triple threat. Then you got Gainwell, who's also a decent player. You know what I mean? So we got those 3 or 4 people that can interchangeably be a weapon on the field. But at any time, 3 out of those 4 players are on the field, and it has to keep the defense honest. And when you take one of those weapons away, especially at the quarterback position, it allows the defense to play a little bit of different game. And it's exactly what they did, which is why the Commanders, their record doesn't really show how good of a team they are, because you think about this. Hurts goes out. They adjusted their defense on the fly, and they basically shut down Saquon Barkley. The running game was shut down. It was shut down. He got hit behind the bar. They knew that they were going, that we had to run the ball in this situations. But then also when he was going to AJ Brown so often, it was almost like he was becoming predictable as well. Yeah. And if that's something that I can see, listen, as a kid, I played offensive line, I played defensive line, dabbled in linebacker, I was a center. So like, I don't know, I would like to say I'm the smartest person on the offensive line. Right. So it's like, I look at these positions. If I can tell that there's an issue and things are becoming predictable, then there's an issue right there. And again, that's a dimension that Jalen Hurts adds to this offense in terms of what you're trying to figure out as a defensive coordinator when the Eagles are driving down the field. So and that's, I mean, and listen, we got to talk about the drop pass by Smith.
Oh
Like,
my god, man, that was the game right there. He catches that pass, that's the game.
that's it. I mean, that's a first. That's at least it's at least a first down. If not, that's a touchdown. I mean, he maybe had one defender to beat.
There's
If
two
not, we're
games.
first and goal.
That's
Like,
2 games now.
yeah.
That's 2 games that were lost on a dropped reception. We're talking
Yeah, they
the
interviewed
first one
him.
with Saquon
Yeah.
Barkley, and then this one with Devontae Smith.
Yeah, actually, he did it. I think he did it last week too. Not a game winning or game changing drop, but he had a huge drop last week. And they interviewed him after the game. I'm watching the post game, and they interviewed him about it. And he was like, "Hey man, listen, it happens. I know I messed up. I dropped the ball. It was an easy because I made great catches during the game, all
Right.
throughout the game, and I dropped the easiest pass that I could have had all day long, and that's on me. And listen, that's fine. You take that hit. And listen, it's fine. I'm frustrated. We lost. The Commanders, they weren't really in it that to begin with. They were coming in for a knockout, I guess, which
Correct.
basically what they did was knock out the Dallas Cowboys from ever getting
Thank
into
God. Hey, listen, if there's
playoffs
one
this season. So there's
But that-
one highlight.
wait, that is a highlight, but it also adds a little bit of a dangerous dimension to things, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it this way, the Eagles are still trying to clinch that number 2 seed spot. Now that the
Right.
Lions won, they have to be, they're trying to clinch the number 2 seed, right?
Right.
They've already made the playoffs, but why would you want to make it even tougher on yourself than it already is in
Right.
the NFL, right? So
Right.
next week, not this
We're
week,
going to be live and direct
when
Sunday,
we Black and 10 are going to be
a week from today.
a week from today, we're going to be at the Eagles Dallas tailgate. And I will tell you
That's
this,
the
that
link.
at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, but I'm going to tell you this right now, that in terms of that game there, Dallas has nothing to lose.
No.
All they have to do now is play spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to
And-
be a good game.
And that's a dangerous game. It's almost like today, because I tell you what, I went into this game feeling like we were glossing over the Commanders a little too much, and
Yeah.
I almost thought to myself, hey, this team doesn't really have much to lose, and I feel like they're trying to play spoiler as well. And I know that
Yeah.
next week that Dallas would love nothing more than to
Then
beat
to
the
come
Eagles
in Philadelphia.
in Philadelphia.
Oh my God. So listen,
It's
we're
gonna
going
be
to be
insane.
there live and direct like we were last time. Lot D, most likely. We'll give you more details exactly where we're going to be at when it gets a little bit closer to the time. But listen, you guys got to come out and support, man, and get some more clips. And we guys,
We put out
we'll
a-
put you on.
We put out a clip today that had to do with like, hey, how good is your tailgate essentially? And C Block kind of reached out, and we know from last time that
C-Block.
the C Block is a very
Yeah.
large
Let's
tailgate.
go.
So I think we're gonna do the same thing as we did last time. Probably just walk around a little bit and kind of figure things out that way. But
Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you
it's
what,
always
man.
listen, we're going to have a good time. We get some content, talk to some people. And, listen, there's going to be a lot of trash talking because the Dallas is going to be in the house. And for whatever reason, as you know, as an Eagles fan, there are an exorbitant amount, a ridiculous amount, an annoying amount of Dallas fans that live in this area.
and they're so
And-
loud, and they're so
And
loud
I
and
know-
obnoxious.
Listen, Eagles fans, we're bad, but those Dallas fans are boring.
No,
Because all
it's
they talk
because-
about is what they did 25 years ago.
It's the same thing the Steelers talked about the last time we were there as well. It's like, we
Yeah.
have 6 rings, bro. Yeah,
Right,
you have
right.
6 rings. Who cares if
Right.
you have 6 rings or not? The last time you had a ring was what, 2008?
Yeah. What
I
have
mean,
you done for us lately?
Right. That's a long time ago. But it. And when Dallas shows up, man, it's just they're so obnoxious. And what kind of loser is from the Philadelphia area, has a team as fun and as great as the Eagles that they can
Right.
root for, but then they're just losers and they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
like,
let me
where
throw
do
on a
you-
cowboy hat. Come on,
That's what I'm
dude.
trying to figure out. Like, what is there a bar in the city limits of Philadelphia
That's
that
I'm
would
sure.
like host it's all Dallas fans that go there?
Absolutely, there has
I've
to
never
be.
seen one. I've never seen
No,
one.
we've never searched it out either, but you got to look at the
I mean,
dichotomy, right? You have like cowboy hats versus fitteds.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
like
yeah.
flannel shirts versus white tees.
right.
You got
right.
like
You got
cowboy boots
Uptowns
versus
and-
Air
right.
Force Ones, dude. It's
Right,
like
Uptowns and cowboy boots, right?
it's completely different. That's funny you
Yeah.
called them Uptowns, but
Yeah,
because that's what they are. But that's
Yeah.
hilarious, right? It's like it's just funny. But
yeah.
the
I
dichotomy
want
there.
I want to know if anybody knows out there if there's an actual bar that actually hosts all Dallas fans
I'm sure there is.
every Sunday. Like a bar. It's probably a shitty bar. I'm sure it's a shitty bar.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It better be a shitty bar.
Yeah.
And I think like if you even hint that you're an Eagles fan, they won't tell you about it. It's like an underground thing. I'm sure because imagine Eagles fans finding out there's actually a Dallas Cowboys or Cowgirls like bar in the city limits of Philadelphia.
Right in
Where
Philadelphia.
all
dude.
those dickheads go to hang out and cheer for the Dallas Cowgirls every week. Oh, we would
Wow.
should have.
So we got there's
We
there's
should have
quite a
met.
few Dallas bars here in Philadelphia
Yeah.
these are the ones that are saying here. It's saying Founding Fathers Sports Bar. Now listen, take this with a grain of salt because I literally just Googled it, and I don't want you thinking that I'm besmirching your beautiful bar's name if this is not true, right?
Right. But if it is true,
But if it is true, fuck
we
you.
are shitting on you.
Founding Fathers Sports Bar and Grill. Then there's one called Milk Boy, Moriarty's, Brick House.
That sounds.
Number 6 says Chickies and Pete's, which we know is not true. So
That's not true.
So again, I feel like we should just take this whole thing out, maybe.
Yeah. And that's in Ben Salem. Founding Fathers in Ben Salem. So it's not in the city.
Yeah.
That's like an outside suburbs, Ben Salem. That's not really a city bar. You can have that one. We don't give a shit about that. But if you're inside the city limits, Old City, Center City, anything like that, come on.
This
Bro,
game
Not
this
happening.
just going back to it though, this game really it put a bad taste in my mouth, and there's not one person that can say that there's a silver lining in any part of this. I mean, really the only, like you said, the one silver lining is the fact that the Dallas Cowboys are eliminated.
They've been eliminated. And that's
eliminated.
beautiful.
And
That's
that is a
always good
beautiful
to
thing.
see.
But
That's always
come
good to see.
on, man, it's just like we can't
I
be
just-
having games like this. If you think that you're a Super Bowl team, you can't have these losses.
And this
You really
is the
can't.
thing. This is what kind of scares me because we basically got exposed to the league at this point because now they're saying, "Oh shit!" So Jalen Hurts goes down, and the rest of the team just falls apart. Like we were supposed to be this team where it's like, okay, even though we're missing a link, we can still stand together and stand strong and be, a dominant force on the field and come through and get our wins.
Right.
And we've done that in the past with other players being out, AJ Brown specifically. And we've been able to win games without him being in the game. But as soon as Jalen Hurts goes down, we not only that, on the other side of the ball on the defense, we can't tackle.
No, we can't tackle.
How are we? What are we what is these arm tackles for?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
Listen, they've won 10 in a row, so I almost feel like I kept in the back of my mind. I kept feeling like, oh, there's a bad
wheels on
game
the
that
bus.
is like looming, right? There
Yeah.
has to be a bad game coming.
Yeah.
Any team, but to back up the Eagles a little bit, to kind of be in their corner on this one is like, although we lost Jalen Hurts and things were coming to a halt, I do feel like most teams, when they suddenly lose their starting quarterback, it's kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I agree.
But
Especially,
still, it doesn't make it any.
like
It doesn't
that.
make it any easier though.
Doesn't make it better. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it good. It is what it is. And again, we weren't able. Again, I think part of where our game plan was exposed is that we weren't able to make adjustments on the offensive side of it to be able to get Saquon Barkley the ball more with more positive yardage. Pickens did pretty well getting the ball to AJ Brown, which is great. But that absolutely came to a screeching halt in the second half. And in the second half, our defense just stopped playing. And I don't understand how these things are happening. And again, shout out to what's his name, the quarterback for the Commanders. I said this when he first started playing. I was like, this is going to be a problem for us. He can scramble, he can run, he can throw, he's accurate, he doesn't go down easily. And he did all of those things this game. I mean, he had 5 touchdowns. He also had 5 turnovers. That's insane. To do that in one game and still win shows that our defense did not show up to the fucking game.
People want to talk about too. I mean, like, oh, now you realize, and I'm one of those people, obviously, like now you realize what you are like and what your team is like without Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
But then you also got to also look at the fact that the defense just simply did not perform.
No,
the defense didn't perform at all. And let's not to mention this.
We gave it up.
Let's talk about the one thing is also missing is the fact that we don't have a kicker.
No.
Elliott missed a 56-yard field goal. Granted, it's a little bit further, but that's something last season he'd be able to do all the time. Those 3 points directly contributed to the us losing.
Yeah. Again, that and Devontae Smith missed easy, if not a first down touchdown catch, which would have put us up by 7. And then turning the ball over. Again, turning the ball over killed us. It also killed the Commanders, but I mean, we didn't capitalize after those turnovers that we got in the second half of the game. We couldn't capitalize because we're going 3 and out because we weren't able to get these first downs. First downs is crucial. Critical. And without having a running quarterback, what are you going to do?
if you think about this as well, I do believe that the Lions play the Vikings next week, right? So then
I think so.
you had and the Vikings almost lost today. So in like
Yeah.
this perfect world scenario, we could have had we could have a week where we beat the Commanders. Okay, so that already puts us
Yes.
ahead. The Lions have the Vikings next week. Say the Lions lose, and if the
No,
Vikings
next week. Hold on.
two,
Yeah, on the 30th, the Lions play the Niners.
okay, so then the last game of the season they play the Vikings,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, Lions Vikings January 5th.
you do still potentially have this schedule if you win today's game, where there's a possibility that you could still get that 1 seed. The Vikings almost lost today.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It came down to
they're-
the last possession, and this is not the only game that it came down to the Vikings' last possession as being the one that decides the game as well. So
they've
you,
squeaked a few out in the past couple of weeks.
Dude,
Yeah, they're not like a
100%.
dominating team either.
right, and
They're not
so
blowing people out.
you have the Lions who lost last week, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, and then you could have someone in the chat, Andre Henderson. He said Elliott's getting older. He could have made that kick in 2017. Not only would he have made that kick in 2017, but he would have made 4 more. So I completely agree. That's a good point.
Yeah. He's definitely, yeah.
And I was there that season
ago.
when he hit his season long. I've talked about this before. I was there
That's
when they
he
played
gave
against the
the game
Giants.
check, right? He was like, you make this field goal, I'll give you the game check. And he got that shit. Yeah, that was crazy. The stadium went bananas over that.
The stadium did
That was
go crazy.
awesome.
No,
That
it was an awesome game. But you kind of have this scenario a little bit where if things kind of played out in our direction, we could have ended up clinching a number 1 seed even. But I just don't see it happening anymore. I don't see it happening anymore. It's just it won't.
But I also think, and again, because of the way the Philadelphia Eagles are as a team, I think that if the road is too easy for us, we tend to sit back and just shit the bed all the way. Where I think this loss may be a wake up call of some sort, and I think that with this loss, they're going to go back and absolutely look at some things. I specifically want to understand why our offensive line wasn't blocking in the second half of the game and why our defense can't tackle. Those are the questions that have to be answered or looked at or addressed, and they better not show up again next week against the Dallas Cowboys in Philadelphia, because if Dallas comes in here and wins, we'll never hear the end of it. Even though they're out of the playoffs, we'll never hear the end of it. And I can't have that.
No,
I'll be over at they'll be over at Finally Father Sports Bar kicking some Dallas ass.
We'll be over at Moriarty, one of the other bars that we mentioned that are not actually Cowboy, that we just besmirched their names. We're gonna get sued for lying about if that they're Cowboys.
They got a little bit. They got a little bit of free press, right? They get free press.
Right. All what do they say? All press is good press.
Yes.
Except for when you're known as a Dallas Cowboys bar. I feel like, but whatever. Next week it's going to be a little bit of a difference, man. It's going to be a little bit of a difference. So I guess I don't know. Maybe we can do a little bit of a recap. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, let's go. You can start. You want to?
We got. I'm just going to kind of go down a few of the key points that I think were important from today's game, right? That we're taking out of it. Number 1 is Jalen Hurts. We're still debating whether or not there was a slide or was a dive or a slide dive or whatever it was.
It was a shitty slide, but
it was
slide
bad
nonetheless.
But
and then the hit wasn't that bad, but again, he hit his head on the ground. Momentum.
Right, of course. But he's putting himself in harm's way. That's not a good thing, especially when we realize now after watching this. And honestly, he did shut up a lot of the haters in this instance, kind of like Hurts is terrible, but he does work well in this offense, and I do believe that he is an effective leader, even though I said in the past that he wasn't, because I was never like this huge fan of the guy, but it ended up working fine.
You see how it works, right? It does work.
We could also take from this that Kenny Pickett is complete trash. That I kind
of disagree with that on that. He's not complete trash. I mean, the guy, he's not great by any
14
means.
for 24, 143 yards, a touchdown, but then also a horrible interception.
Yeah, horrible interception. Yeah, I mean, that was reminiscent of Jalen Hurts throwing in double, triple coverage. That was bad.
That was bad. There's probably 4 players around him at that time when he threw that pass.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like his lack of there's no dynamite for Kenny Pickett.
No.
He's not a dynamic player, and I think that says a
No.
lot in terms of, is he ever going to be a starter? I don't think.
I can't see it. Not on any like top-notch team.
No,
I mean,
no.
but listen, we did accomplish getting 21 points in the first quarter. I mean, that was huge because again, we went all season long not being able to score in the first quarter. So, and again, because who was in the game? Jalen Hurts.
Right. No, I agree.
is
That
what it is.
well, talking about that though, like I mean, Saquon had a very good game again. I mean, he had what?
Yeah.
He had a touchdown. He had 150 yards, I think.
Yeah.
Again, and
109 in the first quarter.
Well,
But
yeah,
after the first
right.
half, he did nothing. Like what happened?
What was that? A
Why isn't
60?
the
He had a 64-yard run.
I think a 64, almost 70. Yeah. So why isn't the front? Why did front line stop blocking? Even without Hurts being on the field, if the front lines giving those holes a run through. Barkley's still getting, because he was averaging 15 point whatever yards per carry, and then he went down to like 3.4 yards per carry in the second half because the line's not blocked. He's not getting he's getting hit behind the line. What was going on? I want to know what went on there.
At some point, I guess they just I don't know. Some points they just stop blocking. And that's not like a characteristic of this Eagles offense from
Can
here
we get
on out.
Mr.
Like,
Green to call into the Eagles front line and find out front office?
Yeah, he has all these connections
knows
with Joe
everybody
Flacco
else.
and everybody else.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift
He
and
could
the
get us an
Kelseys.
answer.
Maybe he can get us an answer.
That's funny.
We haven't clinched anything yet.
No. I mean, we were in playoffs, but
the defense looked like complete trash against a mobile quarterback. Listen, I'm also going to say this. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Soak it in now, because within a year or two, when everybody figures you out, you're not going to have the same effect. You're not going to have the same effect. It's just not going to happen.
But it's going to be a problem for next year or so for us in NFC East because, listen, they're a lot better than what it used to be, and that's going to be a problem if we don't. Again, we need to be a solid team all the way around with or without Hurts, because these things happen in football, especially in the NFL. And him going out and that whole team falling apart the way they did today is unacceptable. If we could play like that, we should not even be in the playoffs. Here, your mic went off.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Okay. It's insane. Okay.
No, I agree with you.
I'm just frustrated. I'm absolutely frustrated about today's play. I mean, barring the loss, it doesn't really matter to us. I mean, it's just fine. Us losing, again, silver lining, Dallas is out, which is what we expected anyway. But it's just a total collapse of the Eagles' offense and defense in the second half, unable to get points on the board the way we normally do after all those turnovers.
I was going to say that
ridiculous.
The Eagles still lose even after they have 5 turnovers. You're 100% correct. You're right there.
It's insane.
It's crazy. We don't have a kicker. Who knows when Jalen Hurts is going to come back? It seems like he probably will. To me, it didn't seem like he looked slow coming up from that, but then afterwards, I feel like he kind of got his stuff together. And I do feel like there has been hits in the past few weeks where like he's been iffy, where I'm thinking to myself, like, this guy's definitely going to have CTE one day.
Or just he's getting beat up a lot. He's definitely getting beat up a lot. He needs to stop taking so many hits. I think too, like, because of this game and where it really stood. I mean, we're going to clinch the NFC East or whatever. That's great and all, but I think that because the concussion protocol, there's no standard. Like my brother-in-law, he's a New York Giants fan, and we were texting back and forth to the game, and he was like, with him being out, is he required to be out for the next week? And I was like, I don't know. And then I guess I texted you right about that. And so I think you or him responded to me and was like, there's no actual protocol for concussion as far as being out for a certain amount of time. So it's basically a day by day. They keep checking him every day to make sure that he's, back to his baseline cognitive skills or whatever, and he'll be able to play. So hopefully, I mean, when's our next game? We play the 29th. So we've got a whole, week and a day, or no, another week. So we got a week for him to get better, get out of concussion protocol and get back in the practice field. And then, find out what happened. Because again, was it a big hit? Like, he didn't do it Tua. So I'm not worried that he's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks. Was it a hit that was a little bit a stunner? And they're saying, hey, you know what? Let's not take the chance. Let's put Pickett in. We're already up 21-7. Let's pull him out, keep them healthy. And listen, if we lose this game, what do we not get? We don't get to clinch the NFC East, but we also allow Dallas to not be in the playoffs. So I think that maybe on the front office side of it and the training staff, that may have been a decent move for us to do that and keep him out. Say, hey, listen, let's get Pickett some experience. If he stays in the game, we didn't get blown out. We lost by 3 points. Again, our kicker didn't do his job. If he'd have made that one field goal,
he hasn't done his job in a while. Yeah,
right. No, I get it, but I'm just saying in this game particularly, that one missed field goal would have been, the difference between, them getting a touchdown and trying to do an onside kick to try to get the ball back. They have to score another touchdown to win or another field goal, as opposed to us having to go down and get into the end zone or at least keep them from scoring, which they were tearing us up. They tore us up this week, man. That's what bothers me. Our defense looked like trash.
Our defense did not look good at all, but
no.
I do think they're going to turn it around. It doesn't, although it felt like for a second, like last season where it started that 6-game loss streak. Yeah. I think that this season, this part of the season, it just feels a little bit. It's not the same, although, like I said, feels a bit reminiscent. But all in all, man,
there better not be.
Right. Listen, I told him in the beginning of the season, and I feel like all the people I've been super harsh on have really picked themselves up a little bit, right? I've hated Nick Sirianni, and he's learned how to stay out of the way. So once he stays out of the way, he's learned, what he can and cannot do. Jalen Hurts picked it up. Listen, even Darius Slay, the person I've been super critical of, has done well. So I'm going to keep on saying it. I'm just going to keep going. We're not going to win a Super Bowl with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts.
No. All right. I think there's something there, but
I gotta keep saying I gotta keep it. I gotta keep saying it because at this point, it's I feel like it's the only thing that's keeping our hopes alive. So
right, they're playing. They're hearing you. They're like, what? But fuck that guy.
They're listening. That random guy at Black and Tan Sports. Fuck him.
It's all good. All right. Well, that was good, man. That was a good talk. We had to get on here and just say something about today's game, just because it was very frustrating. And I want to get my thoughts out there and just put them out there in the universe and see what you guys think about it. Hit us up on all platforms, Black and Tan Sports or Black and Tan Sports Pod.
We're trying to get it all evened out so it's all one thing, but that's hard to do. So I just want to give a shout out to the TikTok audience. Thank you guys for your interactions.
Thanks for coming out.
After we actually close down this live stream, I'm just going to continue to hang on TikTok for a little bit just to kind of talk with you guys and see what's going on. But as always, make sure you follow us, Black and Tan Sports Pod on Twitter, Black and Tan Sports Pod on Instagram. Follow us everywhere. We're constantly trying to put out content. We will be releasing an episode from our archives, essentially, for the holiday, because we're not streaming on Christmas. It's not going to happen. But after that following weekend, though, we will be at the Eagles Dallas tailgate. We will be doing interviews, going and exploring the streets, and we'll be going live on there as well. We're going to have a little bit of a new setup, a different setup, I think. So, So, guys.
So, we'll see.
As always,
thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys, man. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Unless something crazy happens, and we'll be back on again next week.
Right.
Running our mouths about some crazy stuff again. But I think we're going to need to anyway, because after this Dallas game, again, we're going to be out at the stadium next Sunday anyway. So you're going to see those clips. We might have to go, if we can, possibly go live from the game. See what happens.
No, we'll be there live. We'll be going live for that. That's a fact. That's why, like I said, we got a little bit of a different. I have an idea for a different setup this time, so I feel like we're going to be even more dynamic than we normally are. All right, guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for listening. Love y'all. See you next time.
Deuces.
Black and Tan Sports, we keep it real. Nick and Blaine breaking down the deal. Big points, bigger stories, you already know. Fantasy football with that life flow. Brought to you by the season never ends, where the game never stops, and neither do we, my friends. From touchdowns to hot takes, we cover it all. Last life in football, we stand tall. Tune in, lock in, it's time to roll. Black and Tan's taking over, but we're on the roll.